What is state chart modeling? It describes how an object transits several states over its lifetime or during its lifetime. You take any object, one object, how it transits to many states during its lifetime in your system. So the meaning is it describes the events that can change the state of an object. What can trigger a state change? In other words, what we see here is it describes the life of one object in terms of the events that trigger changes in the object state. So when you're talking about state chart, it's always modeling one specific object. Okay, please keep that in mind. So what do you mean by an object's changing state? We all are performing this loan management and collection system, right? So we'll take this loan object. Is the loan object changing states? Is there a state change for the loan object? So we'll say that user applies for a loan and loan object gets created. Say he applies for a loan. So what is loan object? It can have a loan ID. Let's consider some members and amount we'll consider. And say the person's address. So we have some specific data for all these things that becomes an object, right? The loan object gets created. And what is the status for this loan? It's applied. So there is a status. From here, it can go to the next state. Next state in the sense, what do you mean by state change? The values for a variable should change. For instance, when the loan officer approves the loan, it can go to officer approved state. What is the state change? It's nothing but the change in the values of its variables. So initially it was in the applied state. From there it goes to officer approved state. How will one object transit from one state to another state? You'll use a method here. Obviously, loan officer, if he wants to approve your loan, you should just go and say, first you will be able to view all the loans and then you'll click on approve, which will be a method which will approve the loan. So an object can transit states, variation in the values of its fields. So we'll take a look at how many states a loan object goes through in its lifetime. You have to give me the answer. You are working on this project. How many states a loan object goes through? I have given one example here. From applied, it goes to loan officer approved state. Have you thought about all the states? I have been discussing a lot with you on the requirements phase. I have told you so many states for the loan object. You should capture that. It's very important. I was just thinking, I just wrote some states here. From the applied state to loan officer approved. This is the first approval. From there, bank manager will approve. That will be the next approval. Once when bank manager approves, we say the loan is approved, it can go to amount dispersed state. Maybe the amount got credited in the person who asked for the loan, in the account of the users. Okay. From there, payment completed state. I have another state here too, that is payment approved state. That is what this one says is, once after the person gets the loan, we are approving his payment that he can pay in these many months or something. So his installments payments get approved. And once when that is done, this guy is going to do the payments and he'll go to payment completed state. Let's think of a very good person who pays all the installments. So from payment approval, he goes to payment completed. Once when he finishes all his payments, loan will go to the loan closed state. He'll close the loan for him. That's it. That's the final thing. But if he's not a good person or he is having some issues, what he will do? The loan after amount dispersed and payment approval, it will go to payment defaulted state. He may default his payment for 3 months or 6 months. So payment default state will happen. And from there, what we'll do is we'll move into the collection. So it will be in collection pending state. From collection pending state, we'll call him and this guy pays. So it can go to payment completed state and then loan closed state. If this guy is not paying at all, from collection pending state, it can go to the waived state. I didn't write these things, but let me tell you, loan waiver. So we'll waive the loan. What else we can do? We'll waive the loan and then it'll go to the loan closed state. So in all these scenarios, you see, there is a starting state, there is one final state for your object. loan closed. After that, that object will not have any transitions of its states. That is done for the particular object. So you should know that the last stage for the object is a stage from where it will not transit to any other stage. Once when you close the loan, it's done. So how will you model these things in UML? So whenever you talk about states, this is the notation you have to use. A box like this, and you have to give the state name on the top. Say all these states are pertaining to one specific object called the loan object. When will you go for state chart? Only when you have an object that transits many states in your application, or else we will not construct this. So we have applied state, loan officer approved, so you just model all these states like this. That is the notation we use. I've used Argo UML here. How an object will transit from one state to another state. What do you mean by transition of states? There is an object with some data members and values, right? You want to change the state, how will you change it? You have to use some method to change the state. You cannot directly go and change the object's variables values without using a method. Do you all agree with this? When we talk about sequence modeling, we are talking about using a method to interact with an object. So when you use that method, the state changes. So a method changes the state. For instance, from the applied state, officer approve ID. So maybe this is a method in the loan officer object. So loan officer uses this method, passes his ID, and then approves the loan. So there is a state transition change using an event or a method. So how will you denote that? You will denote that with an arrow mark like this. You give this like this, and then you just put the method name. Again, this method should be in your class diagram. This should have been modeled in your sequence diagram. Only then it should be here. There should be no method that is here and not in your class diagram. There should be no method that is there in your sequence diagram but not in your class diagram. Then it means something, the link is missing. Okay. So like that you model all these state transitions here. I was working on this, I modeled this. So I just taken some imaginary methods here. So say every method transits the object to another state. So this, and here payment approved. After payment approved, you see there can be a decision happening. Either the person pays all the installments and he goes to payment complete state, or from this state he can go to payment defaulted state. There's two options. So there is a decision here. So you can also use a decision when it comes to options like this. He gets the loan, his payments are approved. If he is paying, the method will put him in a payment complete state. If he is not paying, it will calculate and put him and move him to a payment default state. So that is the meaning here. So you can have decisions for your states, and he goes to payment defaulter, then collection pending, loan waived, and from there loan closed. He completes his payment, from there he goes to loan closed. He goes to collection pending, from there he goes to payment completed. Sometimes when you collect from him, he will pay it back. So that goes to payment completed and then loan closed. So loan closed becomes your final state. You start it in the applied state. Okay. And there's one more standard here, modeling initial and final state. So this is one syntax. Say when you start, to say that this is starting here, you have to use a notation like this and then join it. So it says I'm starting here. Finishing state is a bullseye that's given here. You know, you just loan closed is the last state for my object. I'll just end it like this to say that is the end. And this is the final slide. At a given state, there can be certain methods that can be invoked. And that can be modeled as entry, exit, and do. What do you mean by entry? When I move this particular object to that state, I have to do something. Say when he becomes a payment defaulter, when I'm moving him to a payment defaulted state, what I should immediately do when I enter into the state, send a mail to the user. Man, you have made a payment default. So that might be the entry criteria. When he enters into that state, first send a mail to that user, notify him your defaulted payment. And what activities you can do? What do you mean by modeling activities? While that object is in that state, what all activities we can do in that using that object? Generate report of all the payment defaulters. So that is a method which will generate a report on all the objects in that particular state. So that we can do, and this will not actually transit that state of that object from one state to another state. It will just perform that when that object is in that state. What is exit? He was in the payment defaulter for 3 to 6 months. I am just moving him to the collection. So there will be some approval given by a manager, right? Okay, this guy is really bad. We'll move him to a collection. So then the manager will log in, use a method and approve. So that will be an exit criteria. Okay, this from this state, when he moves to that state, there should be a method that's working to actually instigate that exit. So I have given that here, and you see here how you model that. When he moves to this particular state, the entry is send user mail method is invoked. Automatically, a mail will be sent when he enters into that state. What we can do without transiting state is generate report. This method will generate report, but it will not really impact the state of this particular object. Exit is, it will move this state from here to here, but that should be done before exit of the state. One more final thing, modeling parallel states is also fine. Sometimes an object can parallelly travel as through different states. I didn't find an example for this. Maybe how you model that is you use a fork. You call that to be a fork, which divides the states, and then a join will also be used. It will merge the states. I was thinking like this. Say I send the collection to two different agencies parallelly. Both the agencies will parallelly collect from this user. So agency 1 collection state and agency 2 collection state. Parallelly they will come and merge at the loan close state. So there is an option for doing parallel state charts too. How to do this in Argo UML? Very simple. You just go up and you search for new state chart diagram. Click on that. You get all the notations here. This is for a state, and this is for another state, and this is for transition. Just link it, and you give the method here. It can be like approve or something from the class diagram, and state is done. And you have this starting state, which is again something that you have to give. It's a standard, and the closed final state. When will an object go to a closed state? Only when it is not going to transit anymore. That you have to keep in mind, and you just link that here. Okay. And you also have notations for decision. You have notations for this fork, and you have notation for join, which you can use for modeling your state transitions. How will you give a name for anything? You just go and give the name here. Say, just type the name applied state, and you go here, and then you can say approved state. Yeah, it's done. So I think maybe if you spend some time, you'll uncover more details, hidden details in your project, and this will give you more clarity on what you have to implement in the coming coding phase.